Trey Henderson after a 20-yard return.
Yeah, you know, and that's what the Vikings have going for them down the stretch. They still have 2 more home games out of the final 3 games, and the crowd is with them right now. It's going to be more fun to come to work every day. You know, the month of December, Pittsburgh comes to town next week. It's like they're having some fun out in Heinz Field today against the Chicago Bears. I mean, that game is just huge. It tilts the whole balance of power. The Bears would fall back a game. The Vikings could gain a game here. Be a 1-game separation with 3 to play.
The Vikings have already lost to the Bears this year, 28-3 in Chicago. Fitzpatrick with loads of time, and now he throws, and the catch is made by Isaac Bruce out of the 39-yard line, a 19-yard pass play.
I'll tell you, the guy that feels left out in this whole thing for the Vikings is Darren Sharper today. I mean, nobody has more interceptions in this league since 2000 than Darren Sharper with 38, and he's a true thief back there. In every play, he has his eyes on the quarterback and eyes on his responsibility. And he's always looking for that opportunity to go jump a route. 3 interceptions today, none for Sharper. He's feeling lonely.
Torrey Holt makes the catch in Vikings territory, so Fitzpatrick comes out firing, 19 yards to Bruce, and now 17 yards to Holt.
Sharper was just a little bit late that time getting up there. Just a little late reading that throw that time. Watch Sharper right here. And he's going to read this play and come up. He ends up making the initial hit. See that dig route, that route coming inside? That can be his interception there if he reads it a little quicker.
From the 44, Steven Jackson. Jackson up the middle, down to the 37-yard line of the Vikings. A gain of 7, setting up the second down and 3.
I think with still a full 4th quarter to go, and the fact that this Ram team came back from 17 points down on the road in Houston a couple of weeks ago, that they don't have to panic. And that's Steve Jackson. There's a statistic out there in the league that who breaks the most amount of tackles. He's 5th in the league at breaking the most amount of tackles right now. That's what you look for in the 4th quarter.
2nd and 3. Fitzpatrick pump fake. Now he throws. Intended for Bruce, and it's dropped by Sharper.
Okay, he can't believe it. He got 2 hands on the ball, read the play perfectly, and he said, that's the thing. That's the reason why I have so many interceptions. I've got great hands, and right here, we might have jinxed him here. A good ISO right there. Usually, he doesn't drop that ball. That's his catch.
He has 7 interceptions this season, 6 over the last 5 games. And he's watched Williams pick off 2 today and Winfield with the other.
He's going to blame that on Antoine Winfield for tripping him up right there.
So now a 3rd down and 3. Bad snap. Fitzpatrick could not handle the snap. And he's forced to fall on it. Setting up a 4th and about 5 as we send it to Los Angeles once again. And James Brown.
Hey, Kenny and Brian, Carolina was driving, threatening big time here. Jake Delhomme back to pass, picked off by Rondé Barber. You know he had 3 picks last week. That's 4 picks in the last 2 weeks. Nice return, stopping that drive, and that threat right there. Back to Kenny Albert and Brian Baldwin.
All right, thanks, JB. Rams going for here on 4th and 6 from the Vikings 40. And a penalty marker prior to the snap.
This may change their...
False start offense number 66. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That's on the right tackle, Rex Tucker.
And that'll change their thought about going for it on 4th down.
So the Rams will send out the punting unit, Ryan Parker. Mike Tice's Vikings leading Joe Bit's Rams by 2 touchdowns. 27-13, late 3rd quarter.
That's just that jerk right there, and that's just crowd noise. Can't hear the snap count, think you heard it, not sure if you did, and you flinch.
Fair catch at the 10-yard line by Mewelde Ford. 35-yard punt by Parker. Next Sunday on Fox, Week 15, many of you will see the Rams hosting the Eagles. Second game of our Fox doubleheader, the Cowboys and the Redskins. 2 playoff hopeful teams. Cowboys 7-5, Redskins 6-6.
Of course, Kansas City goes into Dallas later this afternoon. Big game for the Cowboys, trying to come off that defeat to the Giants last week.
Redskins visiting the Arizona Cardinals. And former Vikings head coach Denny Green as Bennett gains 4 out to the 14-yard line. Time winding down in this third quarter. The Rams tied the game early in the quarter on Fitzpatrick's touchdown run. Tied it at 13, but the Vikings came back. 2 touchdown runs in under 5 minutes. First Bennett and then Mason. So after 3, it's Minnesota 27, St. Louis 13. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
You're watching Fox 17, KTTW Sioux Falls, KTTM, Channel 12, Europe.
Vikings by 2 touchdowns as we get set for this fourth quarter.
You think the Vikings were just going back in the day when they were coming to discover America?
Only if our director, Michael Frank, supplied iPods for them.
Let me tell you something. I think that those Viking cheerleaders should have a Christmas video, holiday video.
Did you buy a couple?
Yeah. Oh, I got a couple stocking stuffers.
Michael Bennett losing 4 yards on first down as we head west to James Brown.
Hey, Kenny, take a look at this. Kyle Orton, under all kinds of pressure there in Chicago to deliver big plays. Here he does, 43 yards through the air to Bernard Berrien. That set up a 1-yard TD run by Thomas Jones for the score. The point after is missed. 21-9 Pittsburgh, 13:31 left in regulation. Back to Kenny and Brian.
Kenny, that's what it used to look like in Bloomington, Minnesota, many Sundays at Metropolitan Stadium. And that was a lot of fun back then when it was an open-air stadium.
Johnson out of the end zone hitting Bennett. And the Vikings will be forced to punt.
Remember that, Kenny, back there at the Metropolitan Stadium, both teams were on the same sideline. Both teams would be on that sideline over there. And one thing that Ziggy Wilk came in when he was announcing plans for a new stadium here in Anoka was that he was going to have also that ability to have open-air stadiums. And I think that appeals to the people here in Minnesota that likes to spend their winters outdoors. Unlike you, Kenny, when you just fly to Florida when it gets cold. They like to stay here and enjoy it.
Wasn't too bad today.
No? Balmy almost.
As opposed to Friday when we flew in and the announced temperature was 3 degrees.
There's always a windshield. There's always a windshield at that 3. It's minus something if it's only 3.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by DLP Technology from Texas Instruments. HDTV doesn't get any more real than this. By FedEx Express, international shipping made easy. And by the LeBrons and Nike.
With producer Pete Macheska, director Michael Frank, associate director Barry Landis, we welcome you back to Minneapolis. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger. A 1st and 10 for the Rams from their own 45 following the punt. Steven Jackson on first down, gaining 4 out to the 49, brought down by Pat Williams, setting up 2nd down and 6.
Ryan Fitzpatrick so far in his 2 starts, 4 interceptions. Coming off a game where he came in for an injured Jamie Martin 2 weeks ago in Houston, where he threw 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions.
There's Martin on the right.
Yeah, Jamie Martin there on the right, Mark Bolger on the left. Talked to Mark before the game. That shoulder still has a lot of fluid in the AC joint that he's got to get out.
Fitzpatrick on 2nd down, and that pass batted back by Rennell Smith.
Yeah. Rennell Smith is a guy that was a 2nd-round pick 4 years ago from Washington State, had a lot of injuries, but really, they're getting great contributions now from a lot of players. I mean, Rennell Smith now has a package. In fact, just about every one of their defensive players has a prominent role on this defense right now in some way. Third down package, they have the 9 package, 6 defensive backs, 1 linebacker, and a lot of guys getting on the field and contributing right now.
Third down and 6. Rams have to get to the 45. And that pass broken up, intended for Isaac Bruce. Ralph Brown on the coverage. So the Rams go 3 and out, and we'll send out their punter, Barker.
Well, it's a tough league to learn on the job. On-the-job training in this business is difficult. I don't care how smart you are, what your Wonderlic tests are, what kind of talent you have. There is just so many great athletes on the field that you have to be perfect some days just to get a completion. That ball was thrown behind the receiver.
Everything went right for Fitzpatrick and the Rams 2 weeks ago after he replaced Jamie Martin, became the first player in league history to throw an overtime touchdown pass in his debut to Kevin Curtis. Lost his first start last week, trails by 2 touchdowns here today. The Indianapolis Colts can clinch home field throughout the playoffs with a victory today over Jacksonville. Brian, the Colts lead that game 26-3.
And you know what kills me, Kenny, is everybody's saying, boy, Indianapolis has a tough schedule. You know, they got to play Jacksonville, they got to play San Diego. Let me tell you, San Diego and Jacksonville are saying, we got to play the Colts. I mean, the most complete team by far in football. I think that they have an excellent chance of being undefeated.
Johnson incomplete, and there is a flag as he took a hit from Damian Lewis. I guess things are a little different in Indianapolis, Brian, than when you played.
Holding defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
How would you call that, Anthony Marco? A little different than when you played for that 1-15 Colts squad?
Yeah, you know what's interesting as you look at Joe Vitt is on that 1-15 team, we had an interim head coach, Rick Venturi, and he was a lot like Joe Vitt, a lifetime linebacker coach, defensive coach, and talked the same way as Joe Vitt. Talk tough, emotional, passionate, loves the game, wants his players to love it as much as he does. He said that, you know, every night he wakes up between 2 and 3 in the morning, thinks about what he's going to tell and talk to the team about, goes back and sleeps for 2 hours, gets up, and then goes to work for 18 or 20 hours a day.
Big hole for Bennett. Bennett takes it out to the 40, gain of 15.
And this is an athletic group on the offensive line, and they really are getting out. Here's Mike Goldberg getting out right here. Right guard gets out and throws the lead block. So right now, between Goldberg and Fowler and Herrera, Mike Tice has a similar group as when Robert Smith was here, when he had Jeff Christie and Randy McDaniel. And those guys could get out front and be the lead blockers on the edge.
From the 40, and around. And Corrin Robinson is knocked out of bounds after a gain of just 2. We check in once again with James Brown.
Hey, Kenny and Brian, take a look at Cadillac Williams helping to make sure that Tampa Bay snaps the 5-game losing streak to Carolina. This one, a 10-yard run to pay dirt, his first multi-touchdown game, and his 5th 100-yard rushing game. That is a team rookie record up 20-3, 5:33 left in regulation. Back to Kenny and Brian.
So a big day for Chris Sims, Cadillac Williams, and the Tampa Bay Bucks. On 2nd and long, here's Bennett. And Bennett lost the football. Bennett fumbled, and it's recovered by Brandon Schiller. The 4th fumble Bennett has lost this season.
And that's why it's tough to believe in him. Just when you want to give him the ball, you want to feed him, he coughs it up like that. And in a game where you're trying to put it on ice, onto the deep freeze, you can't give the ball back to the Rams in this type of situation here. Got both his center and guard out front there leading the way. Tuck that ball away right there. Great job of knocking that ball loose by Trev Falk and Brandon Schiller recovering.
Remember week 2 in Cincinnati, Bennett lost 2 fumbles. He was in the doghouse for a couple of weeks after that game.
Oh man, the Bengal game was terrible. It's like Mike Tice is going to challenge this, whether he was down, whether the knee was down when the ball came out.
He was not ruled down by contact on the field, so Mike Tice can challenge this.
I think he's also might be challenging after the fumble. If the Rams could have picked that ball up and moved it, I think the spot.
No, Minnesota is challenging the ruling on the field.
That was not down.
We'll review the play.
Larry Nemers said they're challenging whether or not it was a fumble. Looks from that replay like it was.
Remember, guys, Tom will be paying with his Visa card, and you guys will represent 5 layers of Visa security. Matt, zero liability. Brandon, identity theft assistance. Russ, fraud monitoring.
Why am I fraud monitoring?
What?
Why can't I be zero liability?
Well, Russ, I'm actually zero liability.
Why can't you be identity theft assistance?
I'm identity theft assistance. Hey, listen, I'll be fraud monitoring. You? Fraud monitoring?
With Visa, you're protected.
I'm the director.
Well, why can't I be the director?
A special family guy will have you rolling.
There's no toilet paper in the bathroom, so I'm just gonna whack.
At 9, 8 Central, tonight on Fox.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade.
Well, there's no doubt that this is a fumble here. Mike Tice isn't challenging whether it was a fumble. What he's challenging was Brandon Chiller down right here when he recovers this football and when he got up to run. What they're saying is right here, did Travis Taylor, did he touch him when he was on the ground? Any part of a Viking touching him down, Mike Tice could win this challenge, but I don't think he's going to win this. I think the ball's going to stay where it is.
The runner was not down by contact. The ball was out before he was tackled. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands. First down, St. Louis.
Well, it sounds like Larry
Minnesota's
Nemers
charged with
was not
their
even
first
looking
team
whether or
timeout.
not Chiller was down. He looked at whether or not it was a fumble. Even if Tice won the challenge, would have been only an 8-yard difference. So it will be a first down for the Rams on the Vikings 33. Brandon Chiller starting today for the injured Dexter Coakley.
Yeah, it's going to be out for the season, and Vikings lose a timeout on that challenge too, and they're a costly turnover right there. The thing about this Rams team is, with their offensive firepower, they're never out of a football game. You may want to have held on to that timeout.
Here's Steven Jackson. Jackson all the way down to the 29-yard line, gain 5. You talked about the comeback in Houston 2 weeks ago.
I tell you, down there is Pat Williams in the middle, and there will be people in Minnesota that will tell you that he could be the MVP of this team. The way that he has performed, the leadership that he has brought to this team. In fact, he's never been to the Pro Bowl in 9 years, and they think that he should be the Pro Bowl nose tackle the way he's played this year.
Spent his first 8 years with the Buffalo Bills.
He was a free agent, wasn't drafted coming into this league. They're minus Kevin Williams these last 2 weeks. They're Pro Bowl defensive tackle.
So the training staff tending to Pat Williams. We'll be right back.
Campbell's Junkie presents tips from Mama McNair.
Don't eat junky, eat chunky. Hearty, chunky New England clam chowder now comes in microwavable bowls.
New England, huh? Well, I like it anyway.
Campbell's Junkie, it fills you up right.
Be a part of TV's best night of drama, the new Fox Tuesday. First, a vital threat starts a holiday quarantine.
Well, nothing brings people together like a Christmas lung fungus.
The hit series Bones. Then, medicine's most brilliant doctor is now #2.
You answered directly to Dr. Foreman.
And that means war. I love the smell of pus in the morning. It smells like victory. An all-new house. It all starts at 8/7 Central on the new Fox Tuesday. Viewer discretion advised.
Well, Pat Williams over here is just fine. Kevin Williams, his counterpart, the other defensive tackle in street clothes today, should be fine starting next week. He's been out with the left knee sprain, but he's been working out and getting stronger.
Steven Jackson on second down takes it down to the 27-yard line of the Vikings, a gain of 1.
Yeah, you know, and in Kevin Williams' absence, I see C.J. Mosley down there, a rookie. He's played very, very well. And That's what this league has always been built on, Kenny. When somebody gets hurt, another guy gets an opportunity. So a rookie, C.J. Mosley, from the University of Missouri, not a lifetime Ram fan by any means, has had 3 sacks the last 2 weeks and has played very well.
Third down and 4. Patrick off his back foot, complete to Torrey Holt, who picks up a Rams first down. Holt has become the go-to guy for Fitzpatrick once again today.
Well, I was talking to Brian Williams, who was Torrey Holt's teammate at North Carolina State, and he said what makes Torrey Holt so good is he makes every pass pattern as he comes off the line of scrimmage look the same. It's the same start to every route, and then he can change direction just as quickly going one way as he can the other.
From the 21, Fitzpatrick fires to the end zone. It is picked off by Fred Smoot. The 4th Vikings interception in today's game, 2nd pick of the season for Smoot.
And it's a good job right there by Torrey Holt, just patting Ryan Fitzpatrick on the helmet saying it's going to be okay. And Fred Smoot, who's been out for the last 5 weeks, gets back in the action. And Fitzpatrick just never saw Fred Smoot come off on the coverage. And Fred Smoot coming from the other side, that might be worth challenging, whether that ball was trapped or caught. Too late now.
Yeah, Vikings get the play off quickly as Bennett is forced back. So Fitzpatrick has thrown 4 interceptions in today's game. And the Vikings, with a 2-touchdown lead, look to make it 6 consecutive wins. Congratulate Fred Smoot, who's missed the 5 wins. He missed the last 5 games with the collarbone injury.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of those key free agent acquisitions from the Washington Redskins a year ago. Played very well on Greg Williams' number 2 ranked defense at the end of the season. And the Vikings have just been stockpiling corners with Antoine Winfield and Fred Smoot and Brian Williams over the last couple of years.
Bennett bottled up again on 2nd and 10. Under 9 minutes remaining, 4th quarter. Brad Johnson and the Vikings leading by a pair of touchdowns, 146 yards in the air for Brad. Michael Bennett, 70 yards on the ground and a touchdown. And that key 49-yard reception by Marcus Robinson led to a Viking score in the 3rd quarter.
You know, and you look at the Viking receiver, it's not a great day. And you know, it's not that kind of a day today. The defense has constantly gotten the offense extra at-bats with turnovers. And one thing Brad said is this is not a selfish group at all of wide receivers. I mean, whoever becomes a star that day, they enjoy that moment.
3rd down and 10, inside handoff to Bennett. No gain, so the Vikings forced to punt. Well, we take you back to the 3rd quarter touchdown drive. First that ugly duck, then the perfect pass to Marcus Robinson. And look what he did on Tuesday during Take a Kid to School Day.
Well, and he went there and picked up a kid in a limo and came to the school with him that day, traveled with him, and then threw a couple of balls through a hoop from 94 feet away.
Former basketball player at Florida State.
Well, he was 2 for 4 from one length of the floor to the other. Not a bad percentage from 94 feet away.
38-yard punt. Rams get the ball back. 7.5 remaining. Reminder coming up next Saturday on Fox. It'll be the Tampa Bay Bucks and the New England Patriots. Pregame gets underway at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Both teams winning today. Tampa Bay 20-3 over Carolina, and the Patriots with a 28-0 lead in Buffalo. Under 2 minutes remaining in that Tampa Bay Carolina game. Rams from their own 43. Fitzpatrick fires, incomplete. Intended for Torrey Holt, Brian Williams on the coverage.
You know, one guy that we haven't talked about in this whole resurgence of defense has been the coordinator, Ted Cottrell, who came from Buffalo in New York, and a guy that has just stayed patient. It was under fire early this season when the defense wasn't playing well. Right now, they're playing great. And for the first time in back-to-back years, the Vikings have held on to their defensive coordinator, Ted Cottrell now. A lot of these players have had coordinators change every year. Now this year, 2 years in a row, more comfortable with the scheme.
Fitzpatrick to Holt, and that is career catch number 600 for Torrey Holston with the same game. Isaac Bruce with his 800th career reception, and Holt with his 600th.
Well, one thing about these receivers of the Rams, regardless of the score, they're going to keep running their routes. And right now, 2 touchdowns to this team is nothing. I mean, they've been coming back in wins this year quite frequently. They've been down in the fourth quarter and have come back.
First and 10 from the Vikings 42. Fitzpatrick steps up and dives down to the 39-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play, setting up the second down at 7. How about the Bengals and Browns tied at 20? Late fourth quarter.
Yeah. Browns, the last team on the Vikings schedule to
play a couple
weeks ago right here. Last team to play him at home here.
24-12.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick firing, and it's caught by Bruce at the 21-yard line of the Vikings, an 18-yard pickup.
That's a good throw by Ryan Fitzpatrick after all the interceptions to stay in there under the pressure, stay in there and be able to fire that ball like that with accuracy. Really put a lot on that football too. Be able to shake off the interceptions, and that's one thing Joe Vitt said. He said, I'm worried about a lot of things going up to Minnesota, but one thing I'm not worried about is my quarterback. I believe in him, and I don't believe that he'll become unglued at any point during the game.
From the Vikings 21. Fitzpatrick with time. It's caught by Bruce. Down at the 17-yard line. Gain of 4. Bruce tackled by Antoine Winfield.
That's a pretty good matchup there. Antoine Winfield with Isaac Bruce. Not many cornerbacks in this league can lead a team in tackles. Antoine Winfield leads this team in tackles. An improved defense, you wouldn't think that. You'd think middle linebacker. No, Twan right there leads his team in tackles.
And he's the only one, the only quarterback in the NFL to lead his team. Second down and 6 from the Minnesota 17. Pass is caught by Torrey Holt, and he takes it down to the 13-yard line. Gains 4 more. Dontarius Thomas on the tackle for the Vikings with under 5 minutes remaining. A 2-touchdown Minnesota Vikings lead.
Vikings are shuffling personnel, trying to stay fresh. There's been no pass rush on this drive right now.
4 down and 2. Marshall Faulk in the backfield. 4 wide receivers. Off to Faulk, and he picks up the first down. Marshall Faulk down to the Vikings 9.
That guy still has a great burst. Fresh set of downs here for St. Louis. I was talking to Mark Bulger before the game, and he said that the night before the game in Houston 2 weeks ago, he had Joe Vitt pull out that great comeback win against Seattle down 17 in the fourth quarter to show the team, show them what we're capable of doing when we run our offense to perfection.
They beat Seattle 3 times last year. Fitzpatrick to the outside. It's caught by the fullback, Hitchcock. And he takes it down to the Vikings 5.
Yeah, I mean, they've had fourth quarter comebacks this year. Down 10 to New Orleans, came back and won by 11. Down 3 to Jacksonville, probably their most impressive win of the year at Jacksonville. Down 14 against Houston 2 weeks ago and came back, and that's a look of consternation there from Ziggy Will.
Rams are the last team to beat Jacksonville. Losing to the Colts today. Faulk down to the 4-yard line, forced back by Pat Williams. Bill, my favorite Joe Vitt story was yesterday. Met his wife while he was working the door at Johnny Unitas' restaurant in Baltimore, and he asked her for ID.
He was only 18 at the time. He was just in college.
Under 3 minutes remaining. 3rd and goal. Fitzpatrick to the end zone, dropped by Curtis.
Boy, Curtis has been quiet today, and he jumped to catch that football. Anytime a receiver jumps, their concentration is never the same.
Why is that?
Because you don't have your feet on the ground. You're just not grounded. It's a little harder. See, he jumped there. It wasn't necessary to jump. He could have just caught that ball right there. Now they're forced to go for it on 4th down here from the 5.
Fitzpatrick 5 for 7 on this drive. 4th and goal. 4 receivers, Falk in the backfield. Fitzpatrick to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Isaac Bruce.
The defense has held up. The defense has been unbelievable inside the red zone the last couple weeks. Against Detroit last week, 3 times they had the ball in there, kicked 3 field goals. Today, the Rams have been down there. They stopped them on 4th down inside the red zone twice today. None more important than this one. Great coverage that time by Sharper. There's Sharper one-on-one there with Isaac Bruce. Had him well covered.
So the Vikings take over on their own 5-yard line. Leading by 2 touchdowns with 2:42 remaining. Patrick Mason has scored a touchdown back in the 3rd quarter. 4 minutes, 54 seconds after a Michael Bennett touchdown, which gave Minnesota the lead. Timeout called by the Rams. They stop the clock with 2:35 remaining. Ryan Fitzpatrick, in his 2nd NFL start, has thrown 4 interceptions.
Some of them I got to put on the receiver. Kevin Curtis stopped running on that one. Timing just a little bit off.
We gotta take the power back.
Isaac Bruce fell down on one. Nonetheless, though, this Viking secondary. Last week, Corey Chavis intercepted a ball at the end of the game to win the game, helped preserve a win against Detroit. Turnovers coming the Viking ways, and tough for a rookie, you know, to try and run a rhythm and timing offense without a lot of repetitions. In fact, he said he didn't take any reps, you know, from summer training camp all the way up until last week when he was named the starter a week ago.
Coming into this game, the Vikings 2nd in the league in interceptions. Only the Bengals had more. Vikings with 4 today. Faison brings it out across the 5.
Of course, the Vikings threw 5 interceptions to the Bengals. One of the reasons why they're leading the league in interceptions.
Bengals with 26 coming into play today. Another timeout called by the Rams, stopping the clock with 2:29 remaining. Well, a minute 10 remaining in Pittsburgh, so a victory by the Steelers combined with a Vikings win. And Chicago, whose 8-game winning streak will come to an end, and the Vikings, who with a win today would extend their winning streak to 6, would be separated by only 1 game in the NFC North.
Of course, the Vikings lost to the Bears earlier in the year, 28-3, but see, Will, coming down on the field's got to feel pretty good about nailing down his 6th win in a row. And what that feeling does, getting ready for a Pittsburgh team that's fighting for their playoff lives in the AFC North, coming off an impressive win, shutting down the Bears' 8-game win streak. Sets up a heck of a showdown and another huge game for the Vikings next week.
You know, when you think about everything that's gone on, trading Randy Moss,
Matt Burke's injury,
the Mike Tice ticket situation, the vote scandal, everything that's happened off the field here in Minnesota, Mike Tice and his staff have done an amazing job keeping the players focused as they are 2 minutes and 10 seconds away from their 6th consecutive win.
And it hasn't been an easy year for Mike. I mean, he tore his MCL ligament against the Giants a couple weeks ago. His son got a lacerated kidney in a high school football game this year. It hasn't been an easy year for anybody.
But the Vikings about to raise their record to 8-5. We have hit the 2-minute warning in Minneapolis.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by the new Sprint, the official telecommunications service sponsor of the NFL.
John Elway is a lonely guy. But when you vote for your Pro Bowl picks on your phone with Sprint service,
no new messages.
You and 3 friends could win a trip to Hawaii for the 2006 Pro Bowl. And keep John company. But hurry, John's waiting. Text PRO to 46635 to vote today, or go to NFL.com and check out exclusive NFL content with Sprint. Sprint, yes you can.
He's up on the big screen, the Minnesota Vikings, with 2 minutes remaining, leading the St. Louis Rams by 2 touchdowns. Darren Bennett will punt from his own 5-yard line. And it's fielded by Allen at the 47, and he's brought down immediately by Ralph Brown. 40-yard punt. It is a final from Pittsburgh. The Steelers have ended the Bears' 8-game winning streak. So Chicago now 9-4. And the Vikings, with a victory, would pull to within 1 game of Chicago, and they will play the Bears here on the final Sunday.
And you can believe that that whole Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman quarterback thing is going to heat up, which can only be a distraction for the Chicago Bears with 3 games left. Their offense has to get better to make a run in the playoffs.
Pass caught by Sean McDonald in Vikings territory. You saw the Colts hung on, so they are now 13-0, joining the group that includes the 34 Bears, the 72 Dolphins, and the 98 Broncos.
Do you think the 72 Dolphins are getting nervous?
Ooh.
You think Nick Bonacani and the group are Larry Zonka and those guys are Jim Kick and all the guys right there, Bob Greasy, thinking about if somebody's going to break that?
Fitzpatrick firing downfield, intended for Torrey Holt. Well, you look at the Colts' remaining schedule. They have the Chargers, the Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals. 3 to go for a perfect regular season for the Vikings. Well, they started 2-5. This will be their 6th consecutive win, their 5th in a row here at home.
Yeah, you know, and it's the 2nd time in Brad Johnson's career that he's helped engineer a winning streak of 6 games in a row. He's done it before, and really, for the Vikings, I think what this is, and what the message should be to the league, is it's better to struggle early than it is late. This is the Viking team 2 years ago that started off the season 6-0, and then just fell apart down the end and couldn't straighten themselves out and didn't qualify for the playoffs.
That pass was caught by Curtis for a first down. Last 2 years, Vikings have started 6-0 and 5-1. And by the way, that other 6-game win streak for Brad Johnson you referred to was here with the Vikings in 97.
Well, I think it's interesting.
Torrey Holt, another Rams first down. And then he lost the football.
That's Terrence Sharper. He wants his hands on that ball.
And then he fumbled. The question is, was Sharper down?
I was like, if I can't get an interception here today, I want to get myself a fumble.
Wow. Rams recover.
See, was this a fumble to begin with here?
So the Rams commit their 5th turnover, and the Vikings their 2nd on the same play.
Yeah. Sharper committed the same problem right there that Torrey Holt did. Didn't put the ball away.
So it's a first down for the Rams on the Vikings 37. Fitzpatrick out of the shotgun. Out of bounds, looking for Isaac Bruce. Great job by our entire crew, led by producer Pete Macheska, director Michael Frank, Our Associate Director, Barry Landis, Broadcast Associate, SIOUX Vcr, our Technical Producer, Dan Rotante. Studio show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. The Associate Director is Stephanie Medina. Jack Simmons, the Senior Vice President of Production. Senior Producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. Executive Producers are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Eric Merlis, Rick Camps crunching the numbers, and our spotter in the booth is Ben Bowman.
Well, Vikings with a 6-game win streak right now.
Fitzpatrick to Bruce, but he was out of bounds.
I think what you look at today, and really the dichotomy, is Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing 4 interceptions. See right here, Isaac Bruce.
Yeah, right foot came down out of bounds on the chalk.
I don't think he dragged it long enough there. But then Brad Johnson, the other side, no turnovers, taking care of the football. You know, Brad Johnson, 16 to 25, only 146 yards today, but to 9 different receivers. He continues to spread the ball around. I think this offense does have to get better here in the final 3 weeks to make a run into the playoffs. And they're going to see better defenses.
Yep, that pass caught by Falk, and with that reception, he becomes the all-time leader among running backs in league history for receiving yardage.
So let me get this right. Isaac Bruce with 800 catches. Torrey Holt with 600. Marshall Falk, all-time leading receiver as a running back.
You got it.
All in the same day.
And now Fitzpatrick to the end zone, deflected, and Sharper has his interception.
Now he can go and take the shower here. Now he got his. Now he's happy. That's number 39 for him over the last 5 years.
Number 8 this season, the 5th Vikings interception of this game.
He's like, I'm not going to be happy today unless I get mine. Everybody else is getting one. Guy has great hands.
And we welcome those of you who have been watching the Bears and the Steelers, as well as the Bucks and the Panthers. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, as the final seconds will tick off here in Minnesota. 5 interceptions for the Vikings. Corn Robinson scored the first touchdown of the game. Ryan Fitzpatrick in his second NFL start throws 5 interceptions. There's Joe Vitt, the Rams interim head coach. St. Louis drops to 5-8. The Vikings 8-5. Minnesota within a game of Chicago in the NFC North.
Oh, you got to play all the games out, Kenny. You got to play all 16 games before you determine who's in the playoffs and who isn't. A lot of football yet to be played.
Mike Tice's Vikings win their 6th in a row. Their 5th consecutive win at home. 6-0 with Brad Johnson as their starting quarterback. Minnesota within a game of Chicago will return to the Metrodome right after these messages.
Let me tell you this story. Now, you run around here thinking you good. Before I played in the state championship, I had 35 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists.
You telling them bald-headed lies again, Pops.
And 12 blocks.
Please.
Now them numbers. That's quadruple-double right there, boy.
That don't make no sense to me.
Don't be jealous, boy. You ain't got it like I got it.
I don't know if I can put up with this no more.
You're watching Fox 17, KTTW Sioux Falls, KTTM, Channel 12, Europe.
Yards in the air for the Vikings. Michael Bennett, 70 on the ground. Robinson, a 13-yard touchdown run and a 61-yard kickoff return. For Ryan Baldinger, this is Kenny Albert. So long from the Metrodome as we send you west to James Brown in Los Angeles.
We continue going around the National Football League to get you caught up on highlights and scores and putting things in perspective. So we now turn it over to the Blonde Bomber, talking a little bit about St. Louis and Minnesota. Minnesota 6-0 with Brad Holland. Who's Brad's last name?
Johnson.
Brad at the helm. There you go.
The owner, Ziggy Will. Ziggy, how you doing? You got to learn where the cameras are, Ziggy, if you're an owner. Nice job. Corn Robertson, a little option on a reverse 13-yard touchdown run. His first run for a touchdown on the season. Vikings up 7-0. Ryan Fitzpatrick, young man out of Harvard. Fitzpatrick.
All right.
I got my tongue in the way. There you go, 14-yard run, 13-13. And then it's Michael Bennett. Big day, straight up the middle, 7-yard touchdown run, 20-13. Fitzpatrick. Uh-oh, what happened? Ball got away, went up high, There's your interception by Brian Williams. Good day for the Viking defense. Good day for the Viking crowd. And certainly owner Ziggy Will. It's not a good day, but that's okay, young man. It's all about learning how to play. 27-13. Vikings now 6 in a row take their record to 8-5.
All right, I guess it's safe to say that the Vikings are getting Ziggy with it. They pulled that one off. That's the Mike Berger line. That's the Mike Berger line.
John Gruden, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, remembers the 9th week of the season when his team was beat 34-14. Watches the Cadillac run hard. 14-yard score, 7-0. Buccaneers over the Panthers. Steve Smith, top right of your screen, goes up. He is smoked by Will Allen. A legal hit. Gets up, walks off the field, does return. Like I said, score is 7-0 now in the fourth quarter. Jake Delhomme looking, thinks he's got his man, Ricky Prohl. But there he's picked off by Rondé Barber. 4 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Remember, 3 last week against Atlanta. 1 in this football game. Cadillac Williams, first time in his career for multiple touchdowns. There he goes up the middle, his second of the year. 10-yard score, 20-10. Tampa Bay over the Carolina Panthers.
And I think I recall correctly that the three of you said that Chris Sims was doing a nice job. Indeed, he did. 20 of 27, 138 yards. And he talked without Jay Glazer after the game. All right, thanks, JB. Chris Sims, you guys have now swept all your opponents on the road inside your division. What's happened with you guys in the last few weeks to bring up that confidence?
You know, we're just playing, we're playing tough, hard-nosed football. You know, our offensive line's controlling the line of scrimmage, doing a great job. We're not making a lot of mistakes. And, you know, we feel a little bit underappreciated right now. I think a lot of people overlook this. You know, that seems to have been the theme all last night. Underappreciated the whole woe is me thing. Yeah, you know, I mean, hey, we watch all the sports shows, and we see all the so-called experts, you know, picking the Panthers every week and whoever we're playing. So we just want to keep playing and hopefully, you know, pile up these wins. You in the fourth quarter also, you've been stellar in the fourth quarter this season. Going into your starting stint here, what's happened now in the fourth quarter to show you that you have this confidence? Well, I think it's like me and you were talking about last night. You know, the Redskin game, I think, propelled us to at least give us a momentum and say, you know, we can get it done no matter what the circumstance. And, you know, we've kind of just been following along that way. It hasn't always been pretty, but we've been making the plays when we had to. All right, thanks. Congratulations. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. JP, back to you. All right, Jay, as we take a look at the NFC playoff picture, and again, Jimmy Johnson already talked about things being tight at the NFC North, certainly the same in the NFC South. All of the NFC East teams are playing later. Jimmy and Howie, as we take a look at this, again, design parity in the National Football League. Certainly that's what we're heading towards at the end of the season as well.
When you look at the NFC South, Tampa right now tied 9-4 with Carolina, but Tampa's got the edge with division record. So it's going to go down to the very last week. You got Atlanta a couple of games back, of course, be playing tonight. So, you know, Carolina and Tampa is going to have a tight race.
Well, Minnesota back in the picture. It's a game you expect them to win at home. They get Pittsburgh, a resurgent Pittsburgh, in next week. And then the last game of the year, at home versus the Chicago Bears. That might dictate the fate of their season. If they don't win the division, I don't know that they get in.
Yeah, Carolina, I thought would lose this football game. Now, all of a sudden, Tampa Bay, having won this game on the road, takes it on the road to a hot New England team next year. Did you change? You said the pregame show. I picked them to lose this game, but they won. I'm not stroking myself. I'm just saying a big win for them. Now they travel to New England, another tough road game. That's all I'm saying. You've got selective amnesia.
But he acknowledged the fact that he thought they were going to lose that game. The fact that they did.
I went out on the limb.
Next week, right? Next week. This kind of scintillating debate is what we'll come back to as we talk about Indianapolis and its drive for perfection. Right
at. So in your scientific opinion, Miller Lite has more taste than Bud Light?
Objection! That is not a scientist. That's rock legend Gene Simmons.
You got me. But he is a real taste expert. Gene, look at that. Sweet slapperoni.
May I see the evidence? Yep, that's a nice one.
I'll allow it.
All right, great taste.
Indianapolis in its drive for perfection, taking on a tough division opponent. That will be Jacksonville. Let's see how they did today. Looking to go 13-0.
All the great ones stumble. That's okay,
Did you?
I didn't say I was a great one. Remember this play last week, a little delayed in route? Peyton Manning to Marvin Harris on a 9-yard strike. They did it again, 7-0, second quarter. Manning back, play action, steps up. What rush? Don't worry about it. Guns it. Down the middle post route. Where's the safety? I don't know. 65-yard touchdown. Man, 13-0. We believe absolutely. I picked you to go undefeated. Colts, keep it up. 26-18 is your final over Jacksonville. I picked them earlier.
Yeah, that's great.
Snow in Buffalo, Jimmy. I know you got to love this. Corey Dillon says, what snow? 12-yard touchdown run as he bounces to the outside. Over the Bills, 14-0 now in the second half. Tom Brady, look, quick little screen out to the wide side to Troy Brown. 5-yard touchdown pass. New England, watch out. Here they come, getting good. 35-7, Patriots 8-5 over the Buffalo Bills. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Carson Palmer, the Bengals ready to host the Browns. Charlie Fry, play action at the goal line, looks right, throws left, wide open, hiding there for a 2-yard score. Browns up 14-7. Palmer sets up, looks out into the flat. Usman Zana there for a 4-yard score. 20-17, Bengals over the Browns with 1 second to go. Shane Graham, 37-yarder to win it for Cincinnati. It's good. Told you, Jimmy, it's good. Bengals 23-20 over the Cleveland Browns. I told you, Jimmy.
And improved to 10-3 as a result. You said you like the kid Charlie Fryer,
I do
right?
like Charlie Fryer, but
for the Browns for sure. All right, so as we take a look at the playoff picture again, with that victory today, Indianapolis not only clinches the division, but has home field throughout. Cincinnati looking awfully impressive. And Jimmy continues to talk about New England being a serious threat postseason.
yeah, New England's going to lock up this division if Miami loses at San Diego. So New England, everybody, they're under the radar right now. You know, everybody talks about how they had all the injuries and this and that. They know how to win in the playoffs, and they're going to have a home game in the playoffs.
Getting a lot of people back in Indianapolis now. Now the speculation begins. Now the pressing questions begin. The players are going to get tired of it. At what point does Tony Dungy address it? Does he address it right away? Glenn is banged up, the left tackle. Mathis, the left defensive end, is banged up. Cato June was out today. I'm sure they have a lot of people nicked. Jacksonville down there is always a physical game.
It's fun now, Howie. Yeah. It is fun, and I will tell you right now.
They get of answering those questions.
They won't. They should revel in it. It should be fun for them.
I've said all along that they're going to go undefeated in the regular season in Indianapolis. You know, they're going to go undefeated. They're going to make a run of this thing.
What? You said they're going to lose 2 games.
Did I say
Selected amnesia? Say it. You tell me that. Turn around and say something
That's
to
the
him.
second thing that goes is short-term memory. And
But Jimmy he did make a good point. Now, I disagree with under the radar because New England is 3-time world champion. But the thing is this: they'll win their first playoff game at home, and then they will travel to
Indianapolis.
Yeah, play
folks,
the Colts.
we will get back and talk a lot more, just like they're doing right after this.
He doesn't get a lot of recognition from me anyway, because I go too far back with him. But Game Ball just continues to make enough plays for us to win. Brad Johnson.
Deserved honor indeed as Brad Johnson now 6-0 at the helm. Jets and Raiders. Well, the Jets, well, you know, you're about to win the Reggie Bush run here, but 26-10, they go on to take care of business with the Raiders. You know, the Texans missed a 30-yard field goal. Talk about maybe they had Reggie Bush on the line then. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't allude to that, but I did.
Got awful quiet on the
Yeah, it sure did. Guys won't step out there. 7-0 Giants at the Eagles in that contest there. Seahawks 7-3 over the 49ers. Seahawks have won 5 straight meetings between these two squads. The Redskins need this win today over the Cardinals, and that will be a tough one for sure.
Don't worry about it, JB. I told you they will sweep the rest of their games. No problem.
That's what I'm afraid of. All right, what about the Cowboys and Chiefs then?
I think the Chiefs win this game.
Cowboys looking to bounce back after back-to-back losses. No, I'm not. Broncos and the Ravens. Denver has won 8 straight home games dating back to last season. All right, let's do global. I haven't used that word. Global thoughts on the day, starting with Jimmy.
Well, Brad Johnson, you know, getting the 6-0 there with Minnesota Vikings, getting the game ball. But really, Mike Tice, he's held this thing together. This thing was unraveling in the first half of the season. You know, Ziggy Welch went in, had a little talk with him. You gave him a little vote of confidence, and now he's back to winning games.
Ziggy a nickname. That's
yeah. Hey, they're going to play Chicago that last game of the season for that division.
Well, that's how they're getting it done. And they get Pittsburgh next week. That That, to me, will define their season. In order to get to that game at the end of the year versus Chicago, they've got to beat a resurgent Pittsburgh Steelers team that I'm not sure they can handle.
Okay, so now what about Carolina? What about Tampa Bay? I did not see that. They're 9-4. They're tied.
Yeah.
You're okay. Yeah.
They switched
Frank Caliendo.
Frank Caliendo saw it?
I did not see it.
The Super Bowl.
It's a classic case, in my opinion, that when you're a good football team and you're in that playoff run with 4 weeks to go, you win at home. You win at home.
When you're desperate. And Tampa was a desperate team. They could not lose to Carolina.
Same can be said about Pittsburgh as well, too, you know. Hey, I mentioned that name, Brad Holland, as opposed to Brad Johnson.
That's okay, but you know, Harvard guys, this show is live. It's okay. I'm making that
Scotty. Scotty's a basketball player. You're right, Scotty. Certainly with UCLA. Hey, football next week. We're on the air at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. It'll be the Buccaneers at the Patriots.
Can I be a little late for that?
Can you be a little late for that game? No, you got to be here. Now, you can't be late for Sunday either. We got a doubleheader action coming up on Sunday for sure. So some good stuff. Cowboys and Redskins.
Cowboys and Redskins. Two desperate teams.
We're going to come out. We're going to come next week with the top 10 defensive players that you don't know about in the NFL.
That you don't know about.
You don't know about. Yeah.
Any of us, none of us know about it.
Well, you would know. I would know.
How about him?
You know what? I don't care.
This could be a big research rate for him.
I don't care. So if you're trying to take a shot at me,
Terry really doesn't care. What he's saying is that he will learn. We'll see you next week right here.
Promotional consideration paid for by Fox Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League. The NFL is online at www.nfl.com.
You've been watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in HD and presented by DirecTV.
Cadillac Williams and the Bucks, Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's a Fox NFL Saturday special this week in HD. This has been a presentation of Fox Sports, home to Major League Baseball, the National Football League, and NASCAR.
3, 2, 1. See ya. Are you a social butterfly? How would you like a job where the more butterflies you meet, the more money you can make? KTTW Fox 17 is hiring for the account executives. We're looking for motivated individuals who strive to make more money, who love a challenge, and who thrive on meeting new people. Applicants must have at least 2 years of sales experience. If this describes you, email your resume to fox17@kttw.com or call 338-0017 for more information today. Release your inner social butterfly and get paid.
Taco John's presents Whiplash the Cowboy Monkey in The Breakfast Caravan. He rode with the sunrise and brought news. News of hot breakfast, like egg and sausage quesadillas, potato ole scramblers, and new grilled breakfast burritos. So many great choices. He was one stuffed little monkey. Breakfast West Mex style, only from Taco John's.
You're watching Fox 17, KTTW Sioux Falls, KTTM, Channel 12, Europe.